to start.
Doing a podcast. Doing a podcast.
Hello.
Hello. Excuse me. Hello and welcome to the Brothers Game Podcast.
I'm Brian.
I'm Nikolai.
We did that in the wrong order.
I know, isn't that crazy? We're feeling a bit wacky today, guys. It's looking good. And here we are. Ryan, you like the new studio?
New studio. Yeah, sure, I guess.
Yeah, the table moved like a couple inches.
The exact same room where the table has moved like a foot.
Listen,
but there's new carpet.
There's new carpet. Yep. So it's practically a new studio at this point.
Yeah. So
that's cool.
As you're aware, but our listeners are not.
Yeah.
Well, half our listeners are probably not.
The half that isn't our mother?
Half that aren't our immediate family.
Oh, interesting.
We got new flooring installed.
Yeah, you did.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations.
So we've been in this house for 11 years.
Long time, honestly. Yeah.
When we moved in, the carpet was already pretty old and worn out. You were here for the first 5 or 6,
yes.
whatever, however many years.
I haven't been here for 6 years-ish.
Yeah.
Anyway.
The carpet was old and worn out when we moved in.
Yeah, it was
we had
already
carpet all throughout the house, basically,
replaced.
except the kitchen and bathrooms. Thankfully, no carpet in the bathrooms, which I have seen before in some houses, which is horrible idea. Anyway, and so 11 years later, it was only more worn out.
Mm-hmm. Bad.
Our property management company was just like, oh yeah, no, we don't install new flooring for current tenants.
We should note you're renting, you didn't buy this house.
Right.
So
I think we've mentioned that before, but sure. Even if we haven't,
let's reiterate.
Yeah. And so, property management company was not going to put in new flooring. So we were just dealing with it. And we thought about maybe even putting in some ourselves. But then
paying for it yourselves.
Owner, the actual person who owns the home, not the property management company, he came and checked out
He stepped in like an angel out of nowhere.
Yeah, saw the state of the floors and was like, you guys need flooring. And so
not only the new flooring, but
AC.
Yeah, you're getting central air put in.
Yeah, because we've had these little window units for the last several years.
This house does not have air conditioning. Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is, I feel like nowadays it's sort of unheard of. I feel like every house has central air.
And last year when it was 115 degrees, that was pretty bad.
Yes, record heat in Oregon. Yeah, terrible.
Oh yeah,
so this summer will be nice for you. Yep. Definitely.
We've got luxury vinyl plank on the bottom floor
it's
and nice new carpet on the upstairs.
It's really cool.
So yeah.
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 That's what I'm talking about. We at my house, we are putting in new shelves for the cats. Mm-hmm. We put some up that looked nice, but they weren't very functional. They weren't wide enough. They weren't coming off the wall enough for them to comfortably turn around and stuff.
Yeah.
And so we found one that are more for cats, their shelves are literally for cats.
Yeah,
so they're
shelves for them to just walk up the wall.
So they can walk up the walls and stuff. It's called catification. So basically, we have a cat tree in the living room, and that's going to go. And then there's going to be shelves up the wall that go around the stairwell. Mm-hmm. And then we found little cat stairs, basically, that you put in the wall, and they're steps that are surrounded with rope, so they can scratch on it, whatever. And so they're going to be able to go from their cat tree up the wall, up the stairs, and into the upstairs hall, all on stuff. So
nice.
That'll be super awesome. So our cats will be happy.
Nice.
Yes, very exciting.
Recently went on a trip to Steens Mountain.
You did, yes.
Steens Mountain Wilderness. It's in the middle of nowhere in Oregon.
Scenic southern Oregon.
Southeast corner of Oregon where no one lives and nothing exists.
Yeah. It really is the opposite of the Northwest Portland.
Yeah. And it's a bizarre looking mountain because it's so wide and not very tall, at least comparatively speaking.
So it's huge but not tall.
Yeah, it's a very gradual increase in height, and when you look at it from a distance, it's super wide, but just doesn't go up very high.
Interesting.
I mean, it's almost 10,000 feet high, so it is high.
Sure.
But yeah,
You know, as mountains usually are. But,
it's not like those mountains that are really pointy and they just like point way up in the sky.
right. The classic what you think of as a mountain.
Right.
Yeah. That's funny because we also have St. Helens, which is
Yeah.
also a very flat mountain.
Yeah,
But of course, that's because it erupted. But still, it's interesting.
But this one's just so much wider than it is high, even compared to like St. Helens. Yeah.
Interesting.
We also got some beautiful views of the Cascades.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the Cascades are awesome.
Mount Hood and the Sisters, and
Mountain Hood is gorgeous. It's a great landscape, like backdrop.
yeah, it doesn't quite dominate the skyline the way like Mount Fuji in Tokyo does, but it's because there's so many mountains around it. Whereas in some parts of the world, like Tokyo, for instance, the areas surrounding the mountain are so low that it just dominates. Because Mount Hood's not a lot smaller than Mount Fuji, but there's just enough mountains around it.
There's enough stuff too, and it's just a bigger area.
Yeah.
So you can see it from farther away, kind of. I don't know. But it's funny. There's many spots here. If it's clear enough, you can see 4 mountains at once.
Yeah.
You can look around you and see pinpoint.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Pretty sweet. Yeah, we live in a nice area,
Yep.
especially if you like the wilderness.
No.
Yeah. So that's the rambling part of the podcast.
Wet in our whistle.
That's the wet in our whistle portion. Yeah. I'm drinking a nice coffee and I'm doing fine. Hey. Courtesy of James from Pete's.
Oh yeah.
So shout out to him, our new favorite listener. I gotta get out there and I gotta tell the people.
Yeah.
You know?
Spread the word.
So you gotta spread the word. Good stuff.
So, video games.
Man, there sure are a lot of them, huh?
Uh-huh. So after our brief detour into Kingdom Hearts,
we would just record the Kingdom Hearts one. Which
we
was
both
fun,
have
hopefully,
finished
for everybody.
Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Yes,
So
definitely.
wanted to start
100%.
by just talking about that.
Yeah, let's talk about Legends Arceus. Probably that makes sense.
So
Let's talk about that.
we've both finished the Pokedex. We did not perfect the whole
No.
Pokedex. I don't know how anybody
Definitely
would
not.
have that kind of time.
The patience that would require is,
Yeah,
is ridiculous.
I don't. I certainly don't have that kind of patience. But
Yeah, I perfected maybe 4 or 5.
I've perfected maybe 2.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So yeah,
and
no
I'm
thanks.
including Arceus
Yeah,
in
and you're
that.
including the free one. Yeah, totally.
So
But you did get Reese's level 10, right? With everything.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
So the Arceus confrontation battle,
Yeah.
whatever
That
you want to call
final-
that,
The final
was
battle.
difficult.
Yeah.
Quite difficult
Definitely.
for me. It took me 4 or 5 tries.
Took me 2. But yeah.
So I tried like 3 times and I was like, this is stupid. And
This
I
su-
just
this game
put it
sucks.
down and walked away for a while. But one day I did. There's something about waking up at like 6 a.m., turning a game on, and the whole day is just, I'm going to beat this one way or another. That's how I beat Halo
Absolutely.
2 on Heroic for the first time. And that's how I beat Arceus.
There you go.
Got up at 6 a.m. It probably took. So I spent like 3 attempts in the days before, and then I spent like probably 3 or 4 attempts that day as well. But so altogether, it probably took 7 or 8 attempts. But I finally got him
Nice.
because with
Yes, tell me about it.
okay. Well,
what
so
the
like
experience
with
was
the
like.
other ones, you just
So this is one of the more like free form battles. This isn't
Yeah.
like a Pokemon battle. This is like
Right.
you're dodging his attacks and
Yeah. it's Dark Souls, but Pokemon.
It's Dark
no.
Souls. Yeah, exactly.
No, so they do really get progressively harder. Like I think
Definitely.
that the difficulty curve they did well because they definitely go from really easy to less easy to
Right,
kind
'cause
of hard
you
to
do-
more hard to very hard.
You do like Lilligant, who's not too tough,
Yeah.
and then you do Arcanine, where you're like, this one's way harder.
Yeah.
This is way harder. Whoa,
So like
okay.
Cleavor, easy.
Yeah, pretty easy.
Lilligant, pretty easy.
Yeah.
Arcanine and
Whoa.
Electrode are a little
Ouch.
more
Yeah.
annoying. But so
I feel like Arcanine was harder than Electrode, but I don't know.
with Electrode, I realized I had to just focus on dodging alone and not worry about trying to hit him in between attacks, because he would give me opportunities.
Yeah, eventually.
Real opportunities to, okay, I can spend a few seconds actually
Unload,
pelting him. And so that's how I handled that. But with Avalugg and Arceus, you have to attack in between.
Yes.
Or you'll never get an attack in, especially with Arceus.
Yeah, Avalugg was tough also. Yeah.
Arceus's
especially
attacks
like
are
in
just
his last phase.
relentless, and so you just gotta every moment you get an opportunity to hit him, you need to just hit him. And like, and I was really bad at rolling into things, because I said this to you outside the podcast, but like, so when you roll, you're invulnerable. But only during the roll.
Yes.
At the end of the roll, you are no longer vulnerable, and there's like a brief second where you cannot
There's a
move.
cooldown. There's a cooldown.
You're immobilized, but not
invulnerable. Yeah.
So, and I had
Which
a
is the
tendency
worst.
to roll through an attack only to basically land in the attack.
In the attack, yeah. Yep, that happened to me a couple times.
Yeah.
It's easy to do.
That happened to me a lot.
That's easy to do.
So, yeah. So that's
That was
what made that so annoying. And so,
Yeah.
and then like he has some more directional attacks and more area of effect type of attacks, and like I'd be hitting him, and then boom, the area of effect attack would happen because I was really close to him to make sure I actually hit him, and I didn't have time to dodge even if I
Yeah, that was my first attempt was spent just trying to learn his patterns basically, because thankfully they are pretty set move sets.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't change it up too much. Although as you progress, they get more difficult. Like the attacks get faster or just change slightly. So you have to
Also, I had to make use of the fact that his health is in segments, and that if you clear a segment and then die, you're able to continue.
Right.
Because had that not been the case, I'm not sure I ever would have beaten him.
Yeah.
But so yeah, like I would clear a segment, die, clear a segment, die, clear a segment, die.
So what happened to me, I guess technically it took me 3 attempts. I said 2. I think it's 3, because my first attempt, I got him down to like half, I think, about half. And then I died. I will say I had a survivor charm. You probably didn't.
No, I didn't have any charms.
So I had the survivor charm, which you take more hits before you die, basically. So that probably helped me.
Yeah.
I was probably able to take one more hit than you were, and that does make a difference.
Yeah.
So there's that. But after I got halfway, I restarted from the halfway point, which is great. And then I almost beat him in that run. And then I died, but he was almost dead. And I'm like, okay, this will be easy. And then I accidentally hit start from the beginning.
Oh, no.
And I was livid. I was like, that is the worst thing that could have possibly happened. So I had to restart the entire fight. But by that point, I did know the patterns basically. And so I just beat it in that whole run. So beginning to end, I beat him. But
so I was way too overconfident the first time. I was like, you know what? I
went in the opposite.
I beat all these other ones.
Terrified.
Yeah, I beat all these other ones. I imagine he's going to be harder than Avalugg, but he can't be. I'll be able to do it.
Surely he can't be too hard.
Yeah. And what I really should have done is just gone in and just be like, this is a throwaway attempt to just learn his patterns.
To learn. Yep.
But yeah.
Yep. It's a good way to do it. But
I can be a slow learner sometimes.
It's also, I don't know, that's just a type of gameplay. I don't know. I feel like I play games more like that than you do. Like, I don't know, platformers and stuff.
Yeah.
To me, it's like a platforming boss.
Yeah.
Like, that's like a boss in a Donkey Kong game. Yeah. Like, it's all about, learning the patterns and stuff.
Yeah.
So, in the end, we did it. Did you catch? So you caught all the legendaries then. So you got Darkrai and stuff too. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to have a brilliant pearl or shining diamond
other way around, but yes.
save. in on my Switch
Yeah, you have to
in
have
order
that.
to get Darkrai. So thankfully you had
You borrowed my Shining Pearl. Hey.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's cool.
Yep.
Yeah, it was fun to. All of them were not too bad.
Yeah.
I didn't really have any particular trouble.
I think it was like Landorus I might have had the most trouble with.
Yeah, with the genie ones, it was so annoying. Just it wasn't really them; it was the Pokemon around them that were so annoying to me.
Yeah. Actually, Darkrai probably was the most annoying
Oh, really?
for me. Yeah.
I feel like he was one of the easiest for me. That's so funny.
Oh, like I would get close
Right, he just disappears basically. Yeah.
like immediately.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you just have to get behind him or something. I don't even remember. But yeah, like the new fairy one, the new fairy genie Pokemon. She was so annoying because all the Pokemon around her, like the Crogunks and the Gravelers and stuff, were just all up on me.
Yeah,
it was
just
so
really
annoying.
aggressive.
So annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that. But overall, man, that's a good game.
Yeah. So yeah, but once I completed everything, I didn't really feel the need to play anymore. So I just
Yeah.
put it down.
Haven't picked it
Like
up yet.
there's now some like solo battle quests.
Yeah, the
and
solitude battle stuff. I don't
Stuff
really
like
care
that.
about that kind of thing either.
I don't either.
So.
Because for one thing, I'm not interested in raising a Bidoof to level 50 or whatever to
Right.
have it be able to compete.
True. I had fun just shiny hunting for a
Yeah.
while because it's so easy to do in this
Yeah.
game. I got some pretty cool shinies from that, but yeah.
Yeah. But so in the time since I finished Legends Arceus and now I have played and finished
You
Shining.
Played through all of
Pearl.
Shining Pearl, yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
So
how was that?
so Shining Pearl.
I will say I've picked it up again, so I'm also playing it right now.
Right.
So we can both sort of talk about
yeah.
it.
So
I have it here just to
I don't
talk
have
about it. But
I don't have a lot to say about it. I got a pretty similar experience to playing Diamond.
yeah. I
regular
mean, I will
Diamond.
say it's definitely better than
It was more enjoyable to play with all the
base.
modern features and everything, and the look and feel is better because
Yeah.
of just being on the Switch and all that.
and just the inclusion of, I mean, better move sets, like
I mean, were they all that different though?
decently. I mean, Fairy didn't even exist,
Well, that's true.
and I don't know. I feel like a lot of the moves are better, but
I didn't encounter quite as many Quagsires and Whiscashes as I did in the original
Yeah.
playthrough.
yeah,
encountered so many that I was just like, what am I?
yeah. In the original, it felt like one of the most barren Pokemon regions to me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, where are all the Pokemon? I'm like, there's like 4 Pokemon in this entire region. It feels
Yeah.
like, yeah. And I didn't get that as bad in Shining.
Yeah,
Pearl.
I mean, it's still kind of there, but it's better.
Yeah. Yes, for any Sinnoh lovers out there, we might trash on it a little bit
Yeah.
here.
Yeah,
It is both
sorry,
of our,
but yeah.
it's both of our least favorite gens, absolutely.
So, having played Legends Arceus, I had a new appreciation for the region itself outside of
Yeah.
any of the games,
Yeah.
really. Just
And it's cool because there's very similar Pokemon. So like when I'm playing through, I'm like, oh yeah, these are all the
Yeah.
Legends Arceus Pokemon.
but like Mount Coronet is there, Jubilife
Yeah.
is there, and
go, oh.
that was kind of cool. Like, oh, I know this place now.
yeah,
But also, even in spite of that, it is the most forgettable region.
yeah. I don't know basically any of the town names except for
Yeah.
Jubilife.
Like, I was talking to you about which town I was in. You're like, which one's
Like,
that?
Where is that? I don't even know. Like I just completed the Steel Gym. Wait, no, not the Steel Gym. I did that, and then I did the Ghost Gym for that. You know, the purple lady. I don't
Yeah.
even remember her name, but it's in the big city area.
Yeah.
So right now, I'm holding my Switch. I'm in the
snowy-
I'm in the snowy area.
Yeah.
I'm about to go because I'm Team Galactic is like stealing all the
The Lake Spirits?
lake
or-
spirits. Yeah. So I'm on my way up there right now.
Yep.
I will say I really like my team in this game though. And that really helps
Yeah.
in playing it. Like when I really like my team, I have a lot more fun playing Pokemon. Definitely.
So just the fact that I had EXP share, the way EXP share works in this game, it made things easier. Because of EXP share in all the modern Pokemon games, I always have a team of 6. Whereas in the older games, I often had as small a team as possible to make sure I was
3.
leveled enough for the Elite 4. And the farther back I went, the smaller my team was probably going to be.
Especially because you just don't grind very much.
Yeah, exactly. Because I don't like to grind, so I avoid it when I can.
Yeah, for sure.
I do try to fight every trainer in the whole game.
Yeah.
I try to, if I can find them all. I felt like in Diamond and Pearl and
even the remakes,
even the remakes, I don't know where I'm supposed to go.
Yeah.
I don't know what order I'm supposed to do things in.
I mean, there is like a little on the map. There's like the little, flag icon. Like,
yeah,
here's the next
there
objective.
is that, and that's helpful for like the big main objectives. But it's like there are entire towns almost that you can
that you feel like
mostly
are pointless.
skip.
Yeah.
If you don't know that you're supposed to go there and do stuff, and so I did a lot of stuff out of order, not knowing that was. And
I actually did just do that also because I had to go up to, Mount Coronet basically. And so I go into the cave and I'm like, oh, I can't go through here. I don't have strength.
Right.
But that's because I should have gotten it like 2 gyms ago.
Oh.
And I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So I went to the Lost Tower where you get strength. And I was like 20 levels above all the trainers in it. So I'm like, I should have been here already. Okay.
Yeah.
Oops.
Oh, was that like the ghost tower with the like all the graves or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called the
me
Lost
too.
Tower. Is
I
that
also
you did the same thing?
did that too late.
Nice. Yeah.
Because it didn't seem like anything significant.
Yeah,
and nothing in the game gave me any indication that I was supposed to go in
Yeah,
there.
I think somebody like mentioned it, like, oh, there's this place. I'm
especially
like, okay,
if you like go inside and you go to the first floor and look around and then leave.
Yeah. You're like,
There's nothing indicating that you should go.
It is also on the overworld. It's the smallest building I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But it's really like 10 levels. It's as big as It's bigger, I think, than Lavender Tower. And I'm like, this should look more substantial. Like,
yeah, it really should.
It looks like a little, I don't know.
Well, and like
very odd.
Oh, and so here's another thing. So the first time I played Pokemon Diamond,
another thing.
Here's the first time I played Pokemon Diamond, I talked to every NPC, and that was such a waste of time because 99% of the NPCs in these games have nothing worthwhile to say. Now, at least in Red and Blue, their lines are so short that even if you do that, it doesn't take very long.
Right. True.
Like, yes, you maybe don't have as much narrative, quote unquote, but at least it doesn't take
Use
as
the
much
term
time.
narrative pretty loosely.
Yeah.
But
yeah, Pokemon. I'll definitely admit that Pokemon Red and Blue doesn't have much in the way of narrative.
that's fine.
Like I will happily admit that, but it at least it didn't waste your time as much in terms. So I remembered that when I was playing Shining Pearl, and I just didn't talk to anybody, and that's kind of the wrong. That's too far to the extreme, because then you do miss out on NPCs that actually have
story and also items.
Yeah,
but they often give you free stuff.
It's really difficult to determine who is worth talking to and who isn't without following a guide.
That's why I usually talk to everybody.
Yeah, but
it is a pain.
After doing that in both Diamond and Pokemon Black, I was like, okay, I am never going.
I mean, I feel like it's better in Black and White, but
it was pretty bad still. I was like, okay, talking to every NPC in a Pokemon game is not worthwhile, so don't bother.
Dang.
That said, wasn't as big a thing in Sun and Moon or Sword and
much
Shield.
better.
I didn't feel that nearly as much.
Yeah, Sun and Moon does that really well, I feel like.
Also, like I would walk into this little area and there'd be this cool little thing, but there was nothing to it. There was no reason to go there. I'm like, why did you bother putting all these textures here, putting all these art assets in here, and not have them have anything here.
And I feel like even when there is something, it's just like a post game thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, some people say there's not enough post game in Pokemon. I think there's kind of too much.
There can be, yeah.
Because I want to do stuff while I'm in my adventure.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to do stuff post adventure.
Yeah.
Because then there's no point, it feels like.
I don't want them to save the good stuff to post.
Yeah, exactly.
Post game. Let me go through the good stuff during the main game and then put extra cool bonus stuff that's not as important and not as cool at the end.
That's why, and I think Legends Arceus did that great.
Yeah.
Because you can get basically every Pokemon ever before the end of the game. I like that a lot.
Like one thing about Gen 1 is the post game is just catch Mewtwo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go to Unknown Dungeon, catch Mewtwo.
Yeah.
That's
For sure.
That's all there is to it. And so for me, that's why the value of Red and Blue wasn't in how long I can play the game. It was in its replayability. Mm-hmm. It was a fun game to just start over. Mm-hmm. And then in later games, they were like, no, let's just put in a whole bunch more post-game content. Now, I still think Gen 2 did that. It has my favorite post-game.
Oh, yeah. All of Kanto.
Of almost any game,
Yeah.
let alone
It's
just any
it's super
Pokemon
cool.
game.
Yeah.
I
love that. Yeah.
yeah, like you finish the Elite Four and guess what? Now you can do all of Kanto.
Go play Pokemon again.
Yeah.
The entire game.
But you get to like fight Brock with Pokemon that are higher level than just like 15.
Brock's good now.
Yeah.
Oh, and here's a bunch of new Pokemon still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah. Very cool.
It's like I think they could
Learn a thing or two there.
Learn a thing or two from their own
Yeah,
successes
like
by just looking back a little.
like I think good post game is I mean Sword and Shield's DLC.
Yeah.
I mean that's a lot of post game.
Yeah.
If you count it as post game. Technically if you start from the beginning there, you could do that during the story, I guess. But
Yeah.
I like having a full new area is pretty cool.
I think the thing about Sword and Shield's post game is it felt a bit tedious for me.
Oh yeah.
But I think part of that was the fact that my team was very underleveled.
Oh. Yeah.
At the end of the main game.
Mine was like level 80.
Yeah. Mine was like level 50.
Yeah, okay.
At the end.
That'll do it.
So that was part of it. So I had to
I spent so long just in the wild areas though. That's
I had to raise up my team. Plus my team was kind of not great, and so I swapped out some members to make it better. Like swapping my Pillow Swine for a Glaceon. That was a big improvement.
That helps a lot.
But it took a long time to level that Glaceon up to be parity with the rest of my team. And then like once my team was leveled enough, and then also just catching every Pokemon in the 2 new areas took a long time too.
I will say one of my favorite, besides I would say Legends Arceus is the best for completing a Pokedex, but I really enjoyed completing Sword and Shield's Pokedex.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the most fun I've had 100%ing a Pokedex, just because of the open world aspect and how accessible evolution items are. Like it felt like just enough work to make it like rewarding, but also not too much to where it's this tedious nightmare.
Yeah,
So
I could agree with that.
I liked that balance.
Because like Sun and Moon was pretty good, but it did get pretty tedious at parts.
It was really tough at certain parts for sure.
But of course, Legend Arceus also got pretty tedious when it comes to just a few Pokemon like Cherubi.
Sure, right. Yeah, everyone's
or
least favorite.
Bonsley for me.
Oh yeah,
I understand that
I
you
feel
had an easier time.
I just got super lucky with Bonsley, but yeah, I feel like everyone has a Pokemon that was like their Everest.
Yeah,
like their Pokemon that was just impossible.
At one point, there was a Bonsley swarm or
there you go. Mass outbreak. Yeah.
So then I had it in the bag. I was able to get his thing up to 10 at that point. But yeah.
Yep, that helps a lot. Yeah, the new massive mass outbreaks really helps with certain Pokemon.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get a mass outbreak of Spiritomb now, you know, from that. So, I mean, you can get anything, basically. Yeah. Yeah, pretty cool.
Yep.
I mean, Legends Arceus is just very good.
Oh, yeah. It was very fun.
I really I just love
Pokemon.
The idea of the main game and the main plot is completing the Pokedex.
Yeah.
That is the point of the game.
Yeah.
And like, because other games, it was mostly about leveling and gym fights and stuff.
Yeah.
And that Pokedex was kind of an afterthought.
Well, and I feel like the developers wanted even back in Gen 1 for it to be about filling out the Pokedex.
Yep. But it
But I
just
think
wasn't.
when you play the game, you feel like it's about beating the gyms and beating the Elite Four. And then, of course, when they start referring to it as the gym challenge, then that makes it feel even more like it's about the gyms.
It's sports.
And even Sword and Shield took that to a whole other level and made it like
it's like
yeah.
go, go, go. Yeah. Exactly. Well, before we end on the Shining Pearl talk, I have my team here open because I just want to talk about them because I like them a lot. So
I'll see if I can remember my team.
I did. I don't always do this, but it's really fun to make all their names like a theme, like around a theme, and so I wanted to make them all like cakes and desserts and stuff, and like various things. All of them except for my main Pokemon. Because one of my favorite Pokemon is Miss Magius.
Right.
The pure ghost type, And since this is Gen 4, it's her debut gen. So, I mean, I got to get her pretty early on, which is cool. And I named her Willow, based off of the witch character from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Because I'm also watching that. And I feel like it really fit her. So, her name is Willow. But other than that, I have a Lucario, who I've never used before. I've never used Lucario because he's like overused. Like I feel like he's too popular, so I never use him.
First time I used him was in X and Y.
Oh, you used the one that you got given? See, I didn't use him in X and Y either. Like I don't know why I never used him. Turns out he's really good.
Yeah.
Shocker. He's awesome. I don't know if I mentioned that I don't really like fighting types in general, but I've come to like a specific few. Lucario for one, Gallade. I've warmed up to. I didn't really care for him before, but I've warmed up to him also.
So I've always loved Hitmonlee.
Right, yeah. From the beginning, you've been a fan of Hitmonlee, but yeah, I don't know why fighting types have just never. I basically never have one on my team, but that's changed a little bit recently. Yeah. Anyway, Lucario, his name is Treacle Tart, which is a British dessert. Anyway, so Treacle Tart, that's my Lucario. And then I have a Noctowl named Moon Pie.
Okay.
Because he's like, and he learns Moonblast. Anyway, my Torterra, he's just called Snack Cake. So Torterra the Snack Cake. I have a Gyarados called Machapon. So it's like melon bread, but matcha flavored.
Yeah.
And then I have a
Lopunny
named Macaroon, and that just fits.
Yeah.
That's just perfect. So anyway, I really like that team. It's very fun. I love Noctowl. I've always liked Hoot Hoot and stuff from even when I was a kid, but now he's got great special attack.
Yeah.
For being, a very basic Pokemon.
He's like a pseudo psychic type.
Yes.
Like psychic isn't one of his types.
He learns every psychic move you can think of. Like it's crazy. So like right now he has psychic, obviously.
He's like the other Xatu.
Yeah, pretty much. But it's cool because he's immune to ghost attacks.
Yeah.
Because he's normal, so he's like a psychic that can't get hurt by ghosts.
Yeah.
But also in recent games, he learns Moonblast on his own. So he's also a great fairy type. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Anyway, very cool. That's my team. It's very fun. I also want to talk about my team in
Legends Arceus.
Yeah. So I'm a huge dork.
I think I mentioned my team in the last episode where we talked about this. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, is this your new team in your new playthrough?
Yeah, in my new playthrough.
Yeah, he's already on his second playthrough.
I did it just for fun because I'm like, mostly part of it was like I really wanted to use a Gallade, and I wanted to do a female protagonist.
Yeah.
So, I have a secondary profile on my Switch so that I just do other files on.
Oh yeah, I hadn't even thought of that.
Yeah. Basically,
because they're tied to profile.
Yeah. So Pokemon now you can have different save files, which is really nice. So yeah, I didn't have to wipe my game or anything. So yes, my team in my second playthrough, I just unlocked the Cornet Highlands in my second playthrough. I sort of blew through the story. Like I skipped through all text and I just did everything really quickly. And so I'm only like maybe 10 hours in on this playthrough, but all my Pokemon are level 50 and like I just blew through it.
Yeah.
Mostly because I wanted this team. Although one of them I wasn't planning on, but I really like.
Okay.
So I did Rowlet as my starter because he's by far my favorite starter in any game. But I don't like Hisui and Rowlet. No. Mostly because he's fighting type.
Hisui and
Decidueye.
Decidueye,
Yeah. Because I love Alola Decidueye because he's Ghost, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
So he's just a Rowlet. I've never evolved him. So he's like a level 54 Rowlet, which is great, And then my secondary is Flareon, just because it's not a typical evolution for me to use mostly. So I thought that'd be fun. And then I have a Gardevoir and a Gallade, both, because they can learn they're both psychic types, but they can learn such a variety of moves that they have completely different move sets. So really nice to have. And it's fun to use a Gallade because I never really have.
Yeah.
But turns out I like him. So, and then I have a Crobat who I've really warmed up to. I don't typically there's not a lot of poison types I'm really into, but Crobat's good.
Yeah.
And learns some really good moves. Just between Cross Poison and X Scissor, he's just very useful to have.
Yeah.
And then
Drapion and Skuntank are also pretty good.
Drapion's cool.
Yeah.
That's the second poison type I'm okay with. Yeah. I actually thought about using him in Shining Pearl.
Yeah.
But
yeah, like every time I fought one, I was
cool.
like, oh, I'm not sure who to use to even fight him
Poison
with.
Dark's a weird combination. Yeah.
Because I didn't have any ground types.
Exactly. Ground is the way to go. But yeah. Speaking of, my final team member, who I don't think I've ever used before, even in Red and Blue, but I have a Rhydon, and an Alpha Rhydon at that.
Yeah.
And he's good.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
There was a little while where
Pokemon.
Rhydon was like, he was my man.
Yeah. I'm really enjoying that because not only does he have, Rock Slide, Earthquake, these great moves, but in this game he can learn Aqua Tail.
Right.
Of all things.
Well, and even back in Gen 1, he could learn Thunder.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so cool. I love when Pokemon like that can learn sort of weird types of moves like that. So he's also my water type.
Yeah.
Which is great because I don't have a water type.
Stuff, yeah.
Like I don't have a water type, which is odd for me because it's typically my favorite type.
Yeah.
So anyway, really fun. I have a really cute picture of them all that I'm looking at right now that I posted to my personal Twitter. I'll retweet it for the Brothers Game Twitter also. But it's fun. It's a fun team.
So my Shining Pearl team. So let me start back at the start of the playthrough. So first of all, I picked female character because I've complained about how little time Dawn gets in the game. So I was like, fine, I'll become the Dawn.
Do it myself. I mean, Dawn is a great character. So yeah. So although it's funny, I like Diamond, the guy. I always forget his name. Because I like his hat and his scarf. So I was always a fan of him. But
I even named my character Dawn because I'm like, no, I am Dawn. I am the Dawn.
Yep, Dawn's cool.
But so I chose the water starter Piplup.
Piplup, yeah.
Yes.
Which is great because that's Dawn's Pokemon.
Yeah.
So
I did Infernape when I played Diamond. And I mean, Infernape is ridiculously good stat-wise. So
I hate firefighting starters.
But I didn't remember having a water type that I really loved. And so I went Piplup this time.
I feel like there's not a lot of great water types in Diamond and Pearl. But
yeah, like I could have had a Floatzel again, but
I don't like Floatzel. So that's probably why I don't think there's good water types. That's why I have a Gyarados in mind.
And so I did get a Starly because I do like Starly and it's an evolutionary line.
It's funny. It's like my least favorite bird.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why. Like he's very strong.
I like him better than Pidove, but
Pidup's my favorite.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Pidup and Unpheasant are my favorite bird Pokemon.
Oh, that's funny.
Absolutely love them.
Yeah.
That is so funny. So, well, there you go.
Yeah.
The duality of man.
Right. So I had Piplup, I had Starly. I caught him a Chop at one point just because I needed. So
Sure.
sometimes I like to
Also, Machamp fits you, I feel like. So
I like to categorize Pokemon types based on the card game types. So like
nice.
ground, rock, and fighting are all fist.
Yeah.
They're all just fist
Right.
type.
Those are all fists.
And I always want to have a fist type.
You got to
on
have
my
a
team
fist
somewhere.
on your team.
And
Yes,
so,
typically my fist is a ground type of
Yeah.
some sort. So
mine too, generally.
Yeah.
But it's always nice if they can learn like the other two fist type moves. So
sure.
like Machop knew a rock type move and a ground type move. Like perfect. Very versatile Pokemon that way. Because there's between those three types, there's a lot of Pokemon that are weak to at least one of those. So
very true.
and then I'm struggling to remember. I got a Misdreavus, so I wound up with a Mismagius eventually.
So good.
Yeah.
Her special attack's so good.
Yeah.
And I taught mine Thunderbolt, and that is so strong.
Yeah.
It is so good.
Oh,
to have.
a Shinx, of course.
Oh yeah.
So like
Yeah.
very similar to my Legends Arceus team in that sense.
It's funny. I don't know why I don't like any of those Pokemon.
Yeah.
I don't really like Starly. I don't really like Shinx. I don't really like Floatzel. Like, I don't know why, though. I don't really like Bidoof.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't like Gen 4 Pokemon for
Yeah.
some reason. I've really
that's
no
funny.
reason to it, but whatever.
Yeah, so that's Piplup, Starly, Machop,
Oh, grumble, grumble.
Misdreavus,
Get some of those grumble
Shinx.
cakes.
Okay. So I had those and I was good, but then I was like, I don't really need a sixth, but so then
I mean, you could definitely
but I wound
do
up
with those, yeah.
I wound up catching a Roserade.
Oh, yeah.
Catching a Roselia and evolving it to Roserade.
You know, I really considered using him as well.
Yeah.
Because but I didn't because I always had another grass type.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, kind of a waste, but
When I play a new
I'd like to try them sometime.
gen, I like to have Pokemon from that gen making up the majority of my team. Because I have a tendency to just stick to Gen 1 Pokemon because I know them very well.
Yeah.
I know how they'll
You're a Gen 1
perform,
man, yeah,
and I
I
like
get it.
them. But yeah, so but I had a Machop because I didn't really find any better options for a long time. I eventually got a Riolu, but I got him fairly
yeah.
late in the game because I didn't know where he was until I looked it up. Because you can totally avoid the Iron Islands.
Oh, totally.
If you don't want to go there.
Yeah. I was the opposite before I got to that area, that town where you can even get there, that port town. I had looked at the entire Pokedex and I'm like, what Pokemon do I want on my team? You know, I was like, oh, I should try Lucario. So like I had it all planned out. So I like got Riolu as early as possible, immediately gave him a Soothe Bell, and then worked on friendship from then on. Like that's why I have one already.
So most of my team was like almost level 50 by the time I got Riolu. So he had a long road ahead of him.
My Lucario is 50 now already.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But and then so leveling Roserade took a while too because I got him pretty late in the game also. I wasn't too concerned because I was so over leveled for everything I was doing.
Did you get a shiny stone that early? Or a Dawn Stone or whatever? Shiny Stone, I think, to evolve.
I'm not sure how
Roselia?
how the earliest you can get it. I'm not sure.
Yeah. But you did it, I guess.
So I wound up using Roserade a lot to get him to level up quickly. And eventually he was really good.
He's good. Yeah. Roserade's a good Pokemon.
And so
great shiny too, by the way.
So the Elite Four
changes
took
his flower colors.
Yeah. The Elite Four took 2 tries. The last guy took 2 tries. The first 3 I was able to beat on the first try.
Nice.
Cynthia took 3 tries.
Yeah. Cynthia's tough.
Also, Cynthia, I commented on this before. I think Cynthia is like one of the more memorable champions.
Oh, absolutely. I think she's the most memorable champion. Which is funny because, I mean, maybe not. Yeah, I guess Gary might be. Blue might be a little more memorable.
Yeah.
Especially to you. But
especially for me because of playing Gen 1. And then also in Gen 2, Lance was the champion,
that's
who was
true.
the
That's cool, yeah.
leader of the Elite Four in the first game.
Yeah.
So he's kind of extra memorable.
That is
for
cool
me.
to have like a recurring character
Yeah.
be the champion.
But other than like those two and Cynthia, like I don't remember the champions
What
of
other
most other
champions,
games.
exactly.
In fact,
I guess Leon is pretty memorable
yes,
because
Leon is pretty memorable.
he's sort of a
but
main
it's-
character through the whole game. But
and that's helpful to making a champion be more memorable.
just have him come up a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In I think Sun and Moon.
Yeah, there is no champion. You
Right.
you become the first champion, right? Something like that.
Or something, and then there's that golfer chick who
Yeah, who's in the Elite Four and not the champion. Yeah, I totally. Yeah,
Did you check that?
I've checked it like over and over again.
Okay,
You
good.
want to look it up right now?
No, that's fine.
Okay. I guarantee she is in the Elite Four and not the champion.
She was memorable in how unmemorable
Yeah.
she was.
Because
She's just like, who is
has
this?
green hair and golfs apparently.
And also, like, she didn't. I thought maybe that she was a character from somewhere else.
yeah.
That they brought in, and like,
You're like,
if
I must be missing something.
Yeah, and like, if you know this character from that thing, you're like, oh man, it's her.
Yeah.
But no,
You're like,
no, they
huh?
just made her up for this game. They just threw someone
had-
in who had not been in the game yet.
They had this really big board full of hobbies, and they threw a dart, and it landed on golf. And they're like, sure, she's a golfer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. It's great. It is funny though that Cynthia, like the Cynthia, is in the least memorable Pokemon game.
Yeah.
Even though she's this like icon of a character in Pokemon. So there you go. That's interesting. Speaking of, I just pulled. You saw me pull it.
Yeah.
The rainbow Cynthia's Ambition from Brilliant Stars. Oh, so cool.
Yeah.
So happy I got that. Anyway. Yeah.
Yep.
Good
and
stuff. Fun stuff.
then I got into the post game of the game, and the post game is really boring.
I'd imagine.
It's
a lot
just-
of legendaries though.
Yeah.
If you're into that.
You have to like do a few things to unlock the couple of areas, and then there's like this battle hall where you can just battle, but like you don't really get anything out of it.
Yeah.
So
People
I don't
really
see-
like that because they're into sort of competitive Pokemon
Right.
battling and stuff, and I'm just not really
I
into
just
that.
didn't see the point. I was like, I don't get any benefit for doing this.
Yeah. Don't you get like battle points or something stupid? Or
Yeah, but you like
you can
can't-
use those to get
You
certain
can't
items.
spend them on anything that you would actually want. So
Got them.
yeah.
That's funny.
So yeah. Overall, my opinion of Sinnoh has not improved much.
Not improved.
Just a little.
Hisui though is great,
Yeah, which is the
Highly
same
recommend.
region, but you know.
which is the same but different. Yeah. I have a goal in Shining Pearl because they just released an update where if you have, I think you have to have Legends Arceus saved on your game, but you can get Arceus now in Diamond and Pearl, and it is the first legit way to get Arceus in like a normal Pokemon game since Diamond and Pearl first came out, and there was like
Wow.
a short, like time sensitive window to get him basically,
Yeah.
and he's shiny huntable,
Oh wow.
which is I think that's like the first time ever you've been able to get a shiny Arceus legitimately.
Yeah.
And however, it is full odds. Like the shiny charm is only for eggs in this game, so it doesn't affect wild Pokemon, and so it's like a 1 in 4,000.
Oh wow.
But I plan on shiny hunting Arceus just because
Yeah.
it'd be really cool to have one.
Did you ever get a shiny Rowlet in Sun and Moon?
No, I never have. I've talked about that in many podcasts ago. I tried for over 3,000 soft resets to get a shiny Rowlet as a starter. Have not done that.
No.
Maybe someday.
Yeah.
I did get it in Legends Arceus though.
Right.
So, but that's much easier. So, yeah, man, maybe someday. I don't know. I do love shiny Rowlet though.
Yeah.
And shiny Decidueye looks fantastic. Basically, all the tan brown is like blue. It's like ridiculously cool.
Yeah.
Gosh, maybe someday. Maybe someday.
And so I apparently just can't get too much Pokemon. So
Yeah.
the only other game I've played recently
been
is
playing,
also
Brian?
Pokemon.
You nerd.
Listen.
You dork.
So while we were getting our flooring installed, one of the contractors broke one of our outlets, so that was part of the problem.
Yeah.
But the other
True.
thing is I had to basically empty my room, including my computer, and so I didn't have my computer set up for a few days. So the laptop that I'm recording this episode on has Visual Boy Advance and a few ROMs. So I played Pokemon Blue, and I was like, okay, I've had this idea to play with a tanky Pokemon team because I'm always going for glass cannons. Just the fastest, most powerful Pokemon that I can
You want
get.
to one-shot everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so this time, now the thing is each of these Pokemon is actually has a pretty decent attack stat.
Yeah.
Anyway, attack or special.
You
attack
didn't go
stat.
pure tank,
But I did. So I had a spreadsheet, as I do,
Whoa, weird.
with all of the Gen 1 Pokemon by their stats.
nerd.
And then I added a few columns of my own because I took this from Bulbapedia, but I added a few columns of my own for what's called effective health. In an RPG, that is, I think it's you divide your defense stat by 100, you add 1, and then you multiply that by your health, and that makes your effective health. And basically, it's rather than judging your health alone, you're judging it with your defense combined to see how defensively, how much damage you can
defensively
really
are.
take.
Yeah.
And then because Pokemon has defense and special defense, I did 1 for defense and 1 for special because, of course, in Gen 1, the special attack
different.
and defense are 1 stat. So I had 1 column for defensive health, I called it, and special health. And then I averaged those 2, and then I sorted all the Pokemon by that. Best one is Chansey because it has 250 health base
His
HP.
health is ridiculous.
But its defense is only 5.
Yeah. Terrible.
So even though it has that much health, it's actually really easy to one-shot a Chansey. And then up there in the top, like 5, are all the legendaries in the game, including Mewtwo, obviously. Being like, Mewtwo is like number 3 or something on that list.
Tough.
So, and then like Wigglytuff is really high up there in the top 10 because it has 140 base HP. But so I that wasn't good enough for me. So what I did was I tried to play around a bit actually with the formula to see if I could like weigh defense more heavily than HP.
Yeah.
But every time I tried it, it's high HP Pokemon still were higher. And so instead, I said, I'm not going to change the formula. Instead, I'm just going to eliminate any Pokemon that has less than 50 base defense, period. Even if I'm going for like a special tank,
Right.
I still said that you've got to have a minimum of 50 defense and a minimum of 50 special or
I
not
don't
good
care.
enough.
Yeah.
So then that changed it to Snorlax was at the top.
Yeah.
And
He's a tough boy.
but then I also, because it's Gen 1 and there's a lot of Pokemon you can't catch until late game,
Yeah.
I said, okay, now only counting Pokemon that you can get before Rock Tunnel.
Or just after Rock Tunnel.
Yeah, or just after. And so that, so by Celadon, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that made the list significantly smaller.
Yeah, definitely.
So at the top of that list is Clefable. So Clefable definitely wound up on the team.
Great Pokemon.
Yeah.
Especially now with fairy moves.
Yeah.
So
Gyarados, because you can get a Magikarp right before Mount Moon.
yep.
Nidoqueen. Both, I mean, Nidoqueen and Nidoking were both on the list, but Nidoqueen is a bit higher. It's a bit tankier.
A bit more defensive, yeah.
Venusaur barely won as the best as far as starters for tankiness. Blastoise is like one stat, 1
Yeah, it's
point
interesting because
lower.
I feel like defense is sort of Blastoise's thing. So
Yeah.
that's interesting, yeah.
I think it's just because the layout of the stats favors Venusaur just barely. It's only like a 1 or 2 point difference. But so I went Venusaur, and this gave me an excuse to use Pokemon that I don't use as nearly as often.
Yeah.
So, because I almost always pick Squirtle as my starter.
Yeah, you have a formula usually.
Yeah. So I don't really choose Bulbasaur or Charmander all that very often,
Yeah.
and so they're both kind of equal in terms of Pokemon that I just don't use very often,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't tend to use grass types anyway. So that's
Mm-hmm.
another point in Venusaur's favor.
Which I'm using grass types a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then as far as bird Pokemon go, Pidgeot is a lot tankier than Fearow,
Yeah.
which is my normal choice.
Right,
Fearow
you
is
usually go
who I usually pick
Fearow.
for my flying type. And
I
I
like
always
Pidgeot
have a
a
flying
lot.
type. Part of that, that was mostly because of the move Fly back
Mm-hmm.
in Gen 1, because I always wanted to be able to fly around.
Yeah.
But then when I realized that flying type is strong against basically everything that fire type is strong against, and also strong against fighting,
Yeah,
it turns
plus
out it's a
more.
very useful type to have around anyway.
Yeah.
So I almost always have a flying type.
Mm-hmm.
Even in games where fly is no longer a move that you teach your Pokemon to get you around.
Right. Yeah. Flying's just good.
So yeah, Venusaur, Pidgeot, Gyarados, Clefable, Nidoqueen, and then the sixth one.
I know. I can never remember my sixth
Right?
Pokemon every time. I'm like, it's just too many names to remember.
Yeah. I'd assume it was
Vaporeon. Weren't you gonna do a Vaporeon or something?
So I'll talk about that first. It's Hypno.
Hypno. That's right.
Yeah.
You always
'Cause-
forget Hypno.
It's because you don't get them until like Vermilion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas you get all the others right. By the time I got to Cerulean, I had 5
Also,
Pokemon.
you use a Hypno a lot.
I do,
but-
and so Hypno was not that different for me.
Yeah. But that's fine.
It's pretty.
You gotta have a psychic
but it's
type.
like he's the only other psychic besides Abra and Kadabra. So
Yeah. And an Alakazam would be great, but you'd have to trade, and you have an emulator. So.
yeah, yeah, playing single player in an emulator. So no Alakazam for me.
I'm sure there's cheats for that, but
There are,
but whatever.
I've used Gyarados plenty, but I've never really used Vaporeon. I've used a Vaporeon like once ever.
Yeah.
Because
Which
in
is
Gen 1,
crazy to me because it's one
in
of my
Gen
favorite
1,
Pokemon.
I've used just about
I use it
every
all the time.
Pokemon because there were times when I was a kid where I was just like, I'm just going to use this Pokemon because I've never used him before. And
Yeah.
so I've used
You know,
most of
fun.
the Pokemon in Gen 1. Because once I had beaten the game 20 times, it's like, okay, let's do something different.
Definitely.
And so I'm gonna get a Vaporeon because I have a Gyarados now, and Vaporeon is actually higher on that list as far as in terms of
Dude, she is hard to kill and has ridiculously high special attack. And it is ridiculous how good Vaporeon is.
So yeah, and my team's all like level 23, and I'm in Celadon.
Yeah.
Because it's a team of
That's about
6,
right.
they're going to be pretty under-leveled.
Yeah.
So I will have to do some grinding, unfortunately.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'm so much more okay with grinding, I guess. Like in Shining Pearl, all of my Pokemon are like level 50-ish.
Yeah.
And I'm like only to pass like the 5th or 6th gym.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Mine were like level... They were probably level 65 when I fought the Elite Four.
Yeah. I try to have mine at least 70.
Yeah. But mine were definitely higher than they were in Diamond.
Yeah,
Because,
for sure.
because of the EXP share.
Yeah.
And the fact that catching Pokemon gives you EXP. And
Yep.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Makes a huge difference.
Yeah. So yeah, that blue playthrough
That's
will
fun.
be interesting.
Yeah. So I hope you've enjoyed this Pokemon podcast, by the way.
It is the Pokemon Paper Mario podcast. Speaking
We
of
have-
which, we need to talk about Paper Mario.
Yeah, we should do that soon. Before we go, I want to catch Brian up on some news, on some very exciting video game news. First of all I just smacked my microphone. All people are talking about is Elden Ring.
Right.
I'm sure you know about that. I'm going to get it very soon because it is for PS4, even though it's not the preferred way to play it.
Right.
PS5 and PC are much better, but
And
I don't have those
that's from
things.
software, right?
It's a Dark Souls game, basically. But it's more open world. It's very much, people are saying it's like the adult Breath of the Wild. Anyway,
If,
it looks
if Breath of the Wild was dark and gritty.
incredible. I think I'm going to absolutely love it. So I'm going to get that very soon. But the other gritty open world game that's coming out is Kirby and the Forgotten Lands, which is the real man's Elden Ring,
Yes.
from what I've heard. And that's coming out as of this recording in 2 days.
Oh, wow.
This Friday.
That's pretty soon.
And you know nothing about it, correct?
Right. I've seen
Have you
a
seen
single
the mouthful
screenshot.
memes, right?
No,
Oh,
not
okay.
even.
Okay.
Actually, I haven't been on Reddit lately, so I haven't seen a lot of memes.
You don't see the new memes. Okay. Well, it's the first 3D Kirby game
Really? Wow.
ever. Think about that. Think about that.
Wow.
Kirby's always side scrolling. Even when it looks 3D,
Yeah.
it's not really 3D. This is full 3D and semi open world.
Wait. Kirby Air Ride.
Kirby, okay, well, I guess that does count.
Technically.
Okay. As of games where he mostly walks on his feet, this is the first one.
Yeah.
Although you can walk on your feet a little bit in Air Ride, I guess. But anyway, it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
And it's like kind of like it's got this dystopian look to it. Like the first area is like this dilapidated, overgrown city that's just has no people, but has like skyscrapers and like malls and stuff. Kind of creepy, actually. But mostly what people are talking about is what they are calling mouthful mode, where Kirby can suck up anything, right?
Right.
But if it's really big, he doesn't really fully swallow it. And so this I'm showing him a picture of mouthful mode. Okay, so the most notable is the car.
Yeah.
You can see the bottom of the car there, and Kirby's just sort of wrapped around it.
Uh-huh.
So here you can see a vending machine. This is like a ring thing, and you can like blow like air out of you. I don't know. It's really weird. Here's like a big boomerang. Basically, Kirby becomes the object instead of the object, combining with Kirby. I don't know.
No.
Very weird. So you could just drive around in a car that Kirby's wrapped around. I don't know. There's a lot of memes about that, but it does look very fun. I do have it pre-ordered, so I'll talk about it probably on the next episode. In other much more stupid news, this is very recent.
Okay.
Microsoft announced a special edition Xbox in collaboration with the new Sonic the Hedgehog 2 movie, which looks great, by the way. Cannot
absolutely.
wait for that movie.
Very hype.
It's very, very reminiscent of Sonic Adventure, and I'm just like, I'm all about it. But anyway, so the Xbox itself is cool. It's got Sonic and Knuckles on it. But what people are really talking about is the controllers that look like this. They are. I'm showing him a picture of the very furry controllers. That is 100% real. They are fur-covered Xbox controllers. So there you go.
What I don't know is that going to make it more popular or less popular?
It's just so weird that everyone's going to want it, I think. And I think you can't buy it. I think you have to like win it.
Oh yeah.
Like it's a special stupid thing. People are calling it the Sesame Street controllers because it's just Elmo and Cookie
why.
Monster basically.
Yep.
Anyway, absolutely ridiculous. People are kind of losing their minds over that. So there you go. There's that. Now you're up to date with everything that's going on.
Do you know the game Jump King?
Jump King. No.
I don't know a lot about it.
don't.
I assume it's an indie game,
Probably.
but it's very popular among streamers right now because
Okay.
it's very difficult. It's a platformer,
Oh, okay.
and
one of those.
but it's only platforming.
It's
There
one
is
of those-
nothing else.
Is it one of those like FU platformers
Oh, yeah.
that's just like purposefully way too hard?
So you know how when you fall off of something with Mario, you can sort of like direct him to the left or the right to try to land on something.
Yeah.
You drop and you just drop.
You drop.
You don't control him, you just drop. And so often
sucks.
you'll drop very, very far. And there's not
Gotcha.
really any real transition between levels. You just keep jumping up and you're in the new area. So you can fall back to the old area.
Oh, so this is just getting over it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's another game that is very much the same type of thing, sort of.
Yeah. I
where
mean,
it's just
I'm
like-
sure this game type has
Yeah.
many games, but Jump King just happens to be the popular one right
Gotcha.
now.
Yeah, that sounds horrible. I'm sure if we streamed, I probably would play it
Yeah.
because I don't know.
I'd love to
I like
see how you
torturing
do
myself, maybe.
because like I've seen
Yeah.
gamers who are like good at games who did terribly,
Right.
and then gamers who are just average do terribly, and then people who are basically gods who just
who
do
just
it
nail it.
perfectly and
Nail it.
don't make any mistakes.
Yeah.
So
And I mean, platforming is is one of my main things. I mean, I
Right.
love platformers. So yeah, I should probably try it. Huh?
I watched it. I was like, I'm getting stressed out just watching someone else play it,
Right.
because I had
one of those, yeah.
I had as much trouble with Super Mario World as these guys are having with
Yeah.
this game. And Super Mario World, I guarantee, is much
It's
easier
much
than
easier,
that
I'm
game.
sure. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not looking forward to that. We should. Yeah, we need to stream so that I can do that.
Yeah, and the
front of more
and the
people,
DLC is even harder.
Nice. Great. Perfect. Well, we might have something with that someday, but yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah, we're gonna need some good hardware and a solid internet connection and a few things like that.
Someday
Yeah.
we might do that.
Someday.
In the meantime, you can follow us on Twitter. What? At the
Yep.
Brothers G Pod. The Brothers G Pod
Yep.
on Twitter.
You can also check out our subreddit, r/Brothers Game Podcast.
Yeah, go post something. Go post a video game.
Yep.
Go have a video game. Will ya?
Someday in the distant future, you'll be able to watch these episodes on YouTube.
Yeah. Psh. I mean, there's no video element, so it doesn't really matter.
Right. But hey, some
Watch it on
people
Spotify.
like YouTube as their platform.
I know.
Yeah.
Listen. Maybe someday.
Maybe
We'll
someday.
see. Hey. Anyway, that's it.
That's it.
That's the episode.
Bye, everybody.
We're in. Okay, bye.